Welcome back to the deep dive. This is where we take your curiosity, add our analysis, and give you that concentrated knowledge so you can be, instantly well-informed.
That's the goal.
And today, you've given us quite a list, a really solid stack of sophisticated vocabulary. These are high-utility words, the kind that are crucial for, advanced communication.
A really excellent selection.
So our mission today, a proper deep dive into these terms. We're not just scratching the surface with simple definitions.
No, definitely not.
We want to unlock how to use them, the right context, the subtle power they carry. That's the real shortcut, isn't it? To sounding more articulate, more nuanced, especially in formal situations.
Absolutely. Application is key.
Okay, so for everyone learning with us, here's the specific material we're tackling.
Hello. Welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today in the podcast, IELTS vocabulary listening practice topic name is 30 plus IELTS vocabulary words, part 10. Let's unpack this list. Over 30 essential words here. Right. And mastering vocabulary at this level, it really means moving past just recognizing the word. You need to be able to actively deploy it.
Deploy it. I like that.
Yeah. When you can correctly use these specific words, understanding their connotations, knowing how they stack up against maybe weaker synonyms, that shows a real command of expression. It's vital for demonstrating mastery. So we've grouped them thematically. Hopefully that makes them stick better in your long-term memory. We'll start with words around moral action, character, ethical choices.
Okay, first up, beneficent. Now, this isn't just good or kind. It feels more active, like causing good to happen. It sounds quite formal, elegant even.
It does. It signals not just the intention, but a measurable positive effect.
Yeah.
You mentioned synonyms like generous, benevolent, philanthropic, altruistic. Those are good comparisons.
Right.
But beneficent often describes the actual nature or the result of the action. And the context is really important here because it shows two quite distinct ways you can use it, which is super useful for, say, structured writing.
Ah, okay. That distinction sounds useful. Let's look at the examples you mentioned.
Okay, first there's the human element. This is probably how most people use it. The beneficent donor-funded scholarships for underprivileged students. See, direct, intentional human charity.
Clear enough. It shows goodwill.
Exactly. But, and this is interesting, it also has this abstract application.
Abstract. How does that work for something that isn't human?
Well, think about this example. Nature's beneficent forces like rain sustain life on Earth. Rain doesn't intend to be good, right?
No, of course not.
But the outcome, the effect, is clearly good and sustaining. So beneficent can describe these positive, helpful aspects or qualities of things that aren't human. Think government policies, maybe economic trends, natural systems, as long as they produce a constructive outcome.
I see. So using beneficent instead of just helpful adds gravity.
Precisely. Significant weight.
Yeah.
Especially when you're analyzing positive impacts, maybe in essays about society or the environment. It's a key word for that.
Okay, moving from general good deeds to something more specific, action. We have advocate. This feels very active, publicly recommending, supporting a cause or a policy. It's vocal.
Yeah, advocate is really versatile. You see it across social issues, professional life, politics.
Yeah.
You could say, she advocates for animal rights.
Yeah.
That implies actively championing the movement. Or professionally, lawyers advocate for clients. That's formal representation, defense.
Okay.
And then there's the broader idea of change. Advocate change through action. It covers a lot of ground.
And it works as a noun too, right? The person is an advocate, but we're focusing on the verb here, the act of advocating.
Correct. And when you think about synonyms like endorse or champion, it becomes clear this isn't just quiet agreement. It's strong, active, usually public commitment.
So that brings up a good point for learners. When do you choose advocate over just, say, support?
That's a great question. The key difference is that public active nature. If you're describing a deliberate effort, promoting, defending, publicly arguing for something, advocate is the stronger, more precise choice.
It implies using your voice, your influence.
Exactly. To make something happen. A strong essay would definitely favor advocate when that level of commitment is involved.
Okay, so advocacy is about standing up for something. But sometimes the powerful ethical move is the opposite, stepping back, abandoning something. Which brings us to renounce.
Yes, renounce. This signifies a really formal, definitive declaration of abandonment. You can renounce a claim, a right, a possession, even a habit.
So it's very deliberate, conscious.
Very much so. The examples show this well. You can renounce something tangible, legal, like a right. He decided to renounce his inheritance. That's a big formal rejection.
High stakes, yeah.
But you can also renounce a way of life, a behavior, renounce bad habits for health. That's a profound personal shift.
So how does it compare to other words like, say, forsake or abdicate?
Good question. Forsake often feels a bit more personal, maybe emotional. Abdicate. Now, that's usually reserved for giving up a formal position of power, like a king abdicating the throne.
Ah, okay. So abdicate is specific to power or responsibility.
Generally, yes. Renounce is broader. You might renounce your citizenship, but you'd abdicate your throne. Making that distinction really helps you fine-tune your word choice for maximum impact.
Got it. And then sometimes after a decision, or maybe a lack of one, comes remorse. This feels like a heavy word. It's definitely more than just thinking, oops, wish I hadn't done that.
Oh, much more. It's deep regret, intense guilt over a wrong committed. That weight is the definition.
Contrition, repentance, that sort of thing.
Exactly. It's an internal acknowledgement of moral fault. The example given, lack of remorse worried the judge, highlights its legal weight. It suggests someone hasn't accepted responsibility. But remorse is just as relevant in psychology, philosophy. Anywhere you discuss ethical responsibility or emotional burdens. It's the difference between feeling bad about an outcome versus feeling deep guilt over the moral injury caused. A very useful word for in-depth discussions.
Okay, let's pivot a bit. Now we're looking at how we describe location, status, transition, even belonging, words defining place and movement. Hashtag 2.1, describing location and elevation, high, overseas, outside. Starting with high. The literal meaning is obvious, the high mountain peak. Easy enough, but it's the figurative uses that really add that intellectual punch to your language.
Absolutely. Figuratively, it's mostly about status, rank, or maybe ambition. For status, she holds a high position in the company. That means superior rank, significant authority.
Like the synonym exalted.
Precisely. Exalted really captures that elevated status. And then for ambition or standards, high expectations motivate improvement. Here, it's not physical height, but ambitious goals, superior quality. An advanced speaker uses high to signal importance, status, not just elevation.
Makes sense. Next, overseas. This seems pretty straightforward, describing location or movement to a foreign country, usually across the sea. Instantly gives that international feel.
Yeah, it's an efficient way to talk about foreign or international contexts. Really useful in academic writing, say about globalization or travel.
Like studying abroad.
Exactly. She studied overseas to experience new cultures. Or in business. The company expanded its operations overseas. It consistently points to that foreign domain, signaling a clear geographical shift.
Okay. And then we have outside. Again, the literal meaning is simple outside a building. But the figurative uses, those are essential for complex arguments, aren't they?
Indispensable. For argumentation, outside helps define boundaries of thought or influence. We all know, think outside the box, right? For unconventional thinking. But the really powerful use is describing external factors. Outside influences shaped his political views. Here, outside means external forces, pressures acting on someone or something, crucial when you're analyzing cause and effect in social or psychological topics. Hashtag 2.2 people and their place. Migrant, native, nameless.
All right, this next group gets really interesting. Words about belonging, displacement, anonymity, hitting on some powerful identity themes.
We start with migrant. Fundamentally, this describes movement, a person or animal moving between regions. The core idea embedded here is transience.
Transients, like the synonyms itinerant or transient.
Perfect examples. And the movement described by migrant is often linked to necessity, economic, seasonal, sometimes political.
Like migrant workers travel for seasonal jobs. That's economic necessity.
Or birds are migrant in winter, seasonal necessity. The word describes this temporary or habitual displacement, often driven by external factors.
Okay, so contrasting with that movement, we have a native. This feels more about permanence, someone associated with a place by birth, just the local person.
Exactly, refers to the local. Now, indigenous is related, but native as a noun is focused purely on that birth association. The practical example is good. Ask a native for directions if you are lost. It's simply about being born there.
Got it. And finally, the opposite of identity, perhaps. Nameless. Having no name, not identified, anonymous, incognito.
Right. And the usage of nameless goes from the very specific to the quite abstract. Literally, anonymity. The nameless hero saved the day. Or even objects. She received a nameless gift. No sender identified.
Okay. But what about the more sophisticated use you mentioned for advanced expression?
Ah, yes. That relates to emotional or internal states. Take the example. Nameless fears kept him awake at night. Now, nameless here doesn't mean he literally forgot the name of the fear.
No, it means the fear was vague, undefined.
Exactly. Vague, undefined, amorphous anxiety. It's a really potent way to describe those internal psychological states.
All right, let's dive into the mind. Words describing those complex internal processes, how we think, reason, imagine, and also how we express deep feelings. Hashtag Chag 3.1, the process of thinking. Deduce, confuse, visualize.
We'll kick off with to deduce. This is a cornerstone term in logic, critical thinking. It means arriving at a conclusion through reasoning, inferring from evidence.
Synonyms like infer, derive come to mind. It sounds very structured, logical.
It is, and it's incredibly useful across many fields. Think about detective work. Detectives deduce the culprit from the clues. That's evidence-based reasoning.
Or data analysis.
Perfect. We can deduce patterns from the data, or even language learning. Deduce the meaning from context. It's always about that logical sequence to find an answer.
Okay. Next, to confuse. Definition seems simple. Cause someone to become bewildered, perplexed. But you said we need to look at two different contexts.
Yes, this is important because the word can be used slightly differently. Context one is straightforward mental bewilderment. The complicated directions confuse the tourists. They're mentally lost, perplexed.
Got it. What's the second context?
The second is about mixing up categories or distinct items. This is crucial in academic arguments. For instance, don't confuse facts with opinions in your argument.
Ah, so it means fail to distinguish between them.
Exactly. So when analyzing communication, you might ask, did the speaker bewilder the audience, or did they simply mix up the data? Using confuse correctly requires understanding which meaning fits.
Makes sense. And finally, in this thinking group, to visualize. This sounds like active imagination, forming a mental image, envisioning something.
Precisely. It's the mental step before physical action. It's key to planning and creation everywhere. Think goal setting, visualize success to achieve it, mentally rehearsing.
Or architecture.
Right. Architects visualize designs before laying the first brick. It's about generating that clear, active concept in your mind. Hashtag tag 3.2. Communicating confidence and complaint. Assure. Grouse.
Okay, shifting to communication dynamics. Certainly first, we have to assure. Telling someone confidently something is true, maybe guaranteeing it.
Yes. Assure is all about conveying confidence, removing doubt. And it works in a couple of ways. First, factual certainty. I assure you the information is accurate. Confidence in correctness.
Okay.
Second, it relates to safety or reassurance. Assure safety protocols before proceeding. Or a doctor might assure the patient about a procedure. It's always about giving that strong sense of confidence to ease doubt or fear.
Right. So if that's certainty, let's flip to the other end, to grouse. This isn't just complaining once, is it? It sounds persistent. Habitual grumbling.
That's exactly it. That sustained habitual nature is key. Think moan, whine. It often describes constant dissatisfaction, frequently over small things.
Like the examples, employees grouse about long hours, or he would grouse over minor inconveniences.
Perfect. It captures that ongoing behavior. And what's great is connecting this vocabulary to advice. Don't grouse. Find solutions. It framed grousing as unproductive complaining, distinct from actually trying to solve a problem. Hashtag tag 3.3. Emotional states, infuriate, animated, dead.
Now for some strong emotional and descriptive words. To infuriate. This isn't just annoyance, it's making someone extremely angry. Enraged, outraged.
Yes, it denotes genuine fury being provoked. The triggers can be specific actions. Don't infuriate him with lies. Or, importantly for formal writing, the cause can be abstract, ethical, growth. Social injustice can infuriate people. It signals a really high level of provoked anger.
Okay. Then, in contrast, a positive one. Animated, full of life, excitement, spirit, lively, energetic.
Right. And animated works nicely for both people and style, describing people. The animated conversation, suggesting energy, gestures, laughter, describing style. Children love animated films, meaning expressive, vivid depictions, movement. The core meaning is always vivacious, expressive.
Got it. Finally, dead. Literal meaning is clear, but for advanced English, we need those figurative uses, right? Signifying something isn't working or is totally still.
Absolutely. The figurative uses are where the power lies for descriptive writing. Focus on that lack of activity or functionality. A dead battery stopped the car, meaning inert, not working, or atmosphere. The dead silence after the announcement was eerie, meaning complete, profound stillness, a total absence of sound or activity. These are fantastic ways to describe things utterly lacking life or function. Okay, this final cluster of words. This is perhaps the most practical set for anyone aiming for precision in complex arguments. Think essays, reports. These words are like the scaffolding managing exceptions, conditions, caveats. Hashtag 4.1 establishing conditions and exceptions. Notwithstanding, provided, except.
We kick off with a really powerful one for rhetoric. Notwithstanding means in spite of, nevertheless. Sounds very formal. It's like acknowledging a counterpoint but pushing past it.
Exactly. It's a sophisticated way to concede something. When you use notwithstanding, you show you're aware of a difficulty or a counterargument, but you emphasize that your main point still holds.
Can you give those examples again?
Sure. Notwithstanding the heavy rain, the event proceeded. You acknowledge the rain but stress the event happened anyway. Or, he succeeded notwithstanding obstacles. This is crucial for showing balanced thinking in an essay. You see the difficulty, but highlight the success over it. And notice its flexibility where it can start a sentence or sit in the middle.
Very useful. Okay, next. Provided. This seems like a neat formal way to set a condition. On the condition that, or just if.
It adds real precision, especially for rules or requirements. You can go provided you finish your homework. Sets a clear, mandatory boundary.
Or logistics.
Yeah. Technical help is provided if needed. It defines the terms clearly, adds certainty to complex requirements.
And rounding out this trio, except, signaling exclusion, not including other than.
Fundamental for defining scope. Simple exclusion. Everyone attended except John. Or defining priorities. Nothing matters except health. It precisely limits the scope of your statement. Essential for accuracy. Hashtag 4.2 frequency, commencement, and necessity.
All right, let's look at more and more. Seems simple, but it's a key way to talk about trends, progression, something happening to an increasing degree.
It is simple, but it's a strong rhetorical device for emphasis.
Yeah.
We use it for accelerating trends. Technology is becoming more and more advanced, or rising concerns. People are becoming more and more aware. It clearly signals that increasing degree.
Is it different from just saying increasingly?
Good point.
Yeah.
Often it's about register and rhythm. Increasingly can sound a bit more clinical, drier. More and more often has a stronger rhythm, more emphasis, which can be great for persuasion.
Interesting distinction. Okay, then necessary, required, essential, vital.
This captures that absolute need. Water is necessary for survival, a basic requirement, but it also applies to required actions. Take necessary steps. The synonyms vital, indispensable really hit that sense of need.
And crucially, it helps contrast with what's optional.
Exactly. It's not necessary to attend the optional session, makes the requirement, or lack thereof, perfectly clear.
And to begin, to start, commence, initiate, the formal starting point.
Right. Though it seems basic, it's often the preferred formal choice over start. In meetings. Let's begin the lesson. In narrative. The story begins in a small town. Is that clear, formal signal of initiation. Hashtag 4.3, recovery, style, and structure. Convalesce, coiffure, chorus, informal, discount.
Okay, wrapping up with these last few, starting with the lovely word for recovery, convalesce.
Yes, convalesce. It means to recover gradually from illness or injury. The key is that slow, necessary process of regaining strength over time.
Like needed time to convalesce at home.
Precisely. It's much more descriptive and formal than just recuperate or mend. Using convalesce shows respect for the time and effort involved in healing.
Nice. Then appearance, coiffure and forehead. Coiffure sounds fancy and elaborate hairstyle.
It does imply elegance, professional styling. Definitely different from just a basic haircut or elaborate coiffure. Well, that's just the standard anatomical term. Part of the face above the eyebrows, necessary for description, observation.
Got it. We touched on formality earlier, but let's look at informal, relaxed, friendly, not official, casual.
Right, and it applies to different things. Attire. The dress code was informal, meeting style, an informal chat over coffee. It signals a deliberate lack of structure, aiming for comfort and ease.
Okay. And chorus. Literally from music, the repeated part of a song, but used metaphorically.
Yes, as a metaphor for repetition used for emphasis, the refrain, the hook. In analysis, you might say, the chorus of the speech was the need for action, meaning that central theme was repeated for impact. It provides structure through recurrence.
Makes sense. Finally, a tricky one. Discount. We know the price meaning, but the figurative one, dismissal.
This figurative use is absolutely vital for critical thinking and analysis. To discount an idea means to disregard it, dismiss it as unimportant or untrue, often without proper consideration.
Like the example, don't discount the new technology.
Exactly. Don't discount it without investigation. It means give it due consideration, don't just dismiss it out of hand. Using discount this way, instead of just ignore or dismiss, really shows a higher level of vocabulary control. It's a crucial one. Hashtag outro. So we've really pulled apart this quite impressive list. I think the main takeaway, the consistent theme, is that these words are tools for sophistication. When you consciously choose, say, notwithstanding over but, or describe something as beneficent instead of just kind, you really do elevate your expression. Your linguistic command is much higher.
Yeah, absolutely. We've gone through ethics, status, how we think, how we structure arguments, quite a range. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take these words, maybe focus on beneficent, advocate, deduce, and notwithstanding to start and really try to use them. Actively apply them in your speaking, your writing this week. Build complex sentences with them. Don't just memorize definitions.
That active use is everything.
Definitely. And here's a final thought for you to chew on, building on that idea of survival and adaptation we saw earlier. The example mentioned businesses survive through adaptation. Okay, let's apply that to language learning, to your own path to mastery. What specific habits, maybe linguistic habits like relying on simple words, do you need to renounce? Or what new habits do you need to adapt to ensure your linguistic survival, your flourishing in more complex, demanding situations? Something to think about as you work with these terms.
Challenging thought.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into advanced vocabulary. And finally, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.